This full moon represents perhaps the biggest turning point any of us have ever experienced, from darkness, from purging, to light and expansion. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to share with you 5 things I think you should know about this extremely amazing full moon here on February 8th, 2020. Number 1, I wrote down spiritual body detox. It's very similar to a detox, but on a much deeper, more energetic and emotional level. If any of you have ever done any type of detox, you know the first few days are rough. You don't feel good. You feel sort of the symptoms of all those toxins in the process of leaving your system. And you might feel fatigued, you might feel emotional, you might feel depressed, you might feel off kilter in many different ways. But there comes a threshold where you've released enough of the toxins and you shift from feeling more miserable than before you started to feeling great and exuberant and full of life, full of clarity, full of vitality. That is what this full moon represents on a deeper level and a more of a long-term level. A lot of us, a lot of the people especially who have been doing the work, the spiritual work, the shadow work, have been going through just one heck of a purge, one heck of an emotional, physical purge with all your self-limiting beliefs, all your misaligned energies, all your repressed, unresolved traumas. All of that just been like washing up to the surface in full force, causing you to temporarily feel like you're detoxing, like you're feeling those emotions, you're feeling the repercussions of those misaligned beliefs. And it's like, oh my goodness. And because we live in this new energy, that process for a lot of us gets mirrored in our life, where not only do we feel this way, but life is not going well. Life progress seems to halt temporarily. Maybe some unexpected things come into our life, triggering even more emotion. And this whole thing, right? But this full moon finally represents the turning point, the threshold where you've let go of enough. You developed enough awareness and space, and you cleaned yourself out enough to where now it's time to really feel great. Not only like the alleviation of the symptoms of your spiritual detox, but more so the benefits of going through life less diluted by your egoic impediments, more free, more able to express and just embody your truth, your spirit, your light, your gifts, okay? But we're in that turning point. So some of us are kind of like shooting out there thinking, hey, it's a lot better on the other side. Some of us are still in the detox. It's okay, because I can say this with confidence. The energies are shifting, and even if you don't feel great right now in this moment, you're going to start to feel what I'm talking about. I guarantee it. One more thing I will mention, and this I'll get into a bit deeper in the reading as well. As we go through these intense processes, sometimes we don't really appreciate the magnitude of what we're experiencing. And then as we're going through them, we compare ourselves, our perceived temporary lack of balance, to other people who seem to be virtually unaffected. Okay, and we can really get down on ourselves as we do our best not to succumb to old habits, old patterns, as we're sort of slowly releasing these uncomfortable energies. So what I want to say is, if you have been struggling with habits you think you've kicked and that kind of thing, sometimes these just rear up as a side effect of the intense process you're going through primarily alone. Okay, so, and I'll get into this in a minute as well, as I said, but go easy on yourself. Appreciate the magnitude of what you're going through. Number 2, deepening your spiritual connection big time by removing fear. A lot of what's coming up for us, the spiritual detox I speak of, is the removal of fear. Okay, removal of heavy fears surrounding your safety, your relationships, your finances, your career, things that are really important to you. You might have fears coming up around them. The reason they're coming up like this for so many of us is because spirit, and I use that word as a blanket term for your higher consciousness, the God within, however, higher self, the higher self, that the spirit is coming in. It's knocking at the door. It's trying to move in to your body, to your mind, and to your life. It's trying to reclaim its actual authority. Not so much in this detached, I pray to God sort of way, but more in your waking conscious state. So you can literally begin operating yourself through life from the wisdom, the depth, the talent, the power of your spirit. But as spirit comes in and your consciousness begins to shift, fear comes up because it's unfamiliar. Most of us primarily have been living in a fairly unconscious state. And even though it's unconscious and there's all these painful cycles associated with living that way, it's normal. It's familiar. So when spirit comes in, even though it's almost like love is trying to come in, it's new. We're not used to the love. It scares us. It's powerful. So fear comes up. Okay? But what's coming is going. And I'm going to give you an example that I think will make a lot of sense for a lot of you. This energy reminds me a lot of many years ago. I went through what's called a Kundalini awakening. It's where this powerful energy sort of is awakened within your body, and it moves through you in a very physical and obvious, sometimes startling way. But what it's doing, it's like the energy of consciousness. It's like Shakti, they call it. And it's clearing you out of low vibe energies and fear and stuff. So it's a very positive thing. And I used to have these experiences at night where I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I would feel this unmistakable feeling, a feeling like there's a presence, like another consciousness invading me. And it really felt like this new energy is coming into me. And it was very, very, very scary. And I would resist, and it would be this uncomfortable sort of thing. But eventually I realized that I just had to let go, because it was no use. And I finally just started, when this would happen, I would start to let go. And then what would happen is the energy could finally move. And then I realized this energy feels amazing. It was very ecstatic, very almost sexual, very blissful. I would be in bed randomly just overtaken by bliss energy that's doing me the service and the solid of clearing out my chakras, clearing out my mind, purifying my soul. And it was this beautiful divine experience that initially I responded with fear and contraction because it's so powerful and because it's so new. So that's kind of an extreme example, but all of us are going through this at some point. Spirit, in your own way, in a very individual way, is going to be knocking at your door. You might feel like destiny is calling you. You might feel called to really let go and go with the flow of life. And it's like part of you wants to, another part of you is very afraid. Okay? But it really is time to let go and go with the flow. And it's also important, I think, to understand where all the fear comes from. Because life on planet Earth hasn't always been tiptoe through the tulips. And anybody living now has probably had many, 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 many lifetimes here. Okay, even the star seeds have probably incarnated here many, many, many times. Okay, and if you look throughout history, even recent history, even the present, there's a lot of persecution. A lot of high conscious expressions are ridiculed and kind of attacked. And you have probably represented this role many, many times and have had the same exact reaction. So you're being asked to do it again, and you're like, no, I don't want to. Bad things have happened when I've trusted spirit. We are living in a new time. Those same structures and energies that once attacked you are fading out. They're dying off. They have less power than ever before. It's a turning of the ages. It's a new dawn. And when you let go and trust this time, I think we're all in for quite a surprise. This is the time we get it right. This is the time you let your light out and get to feel the joy and the love and the gratitude of doing so. Your energy is now supported and protected more than ever before. Okay? So allow the residual fears to make their way out of your system, because they have no place in this new consciousness you are now embodying. Number 3, things come easy when you go with the flow and trust. Just try it. Just try it. I dare you to just, throughout the day, just tune into yourself, whatever way that really means to you, and just try to feel out what the best move is. You'll be way more perceptive. You'll really be able to feel what the best move is to make in every little given moment. And it's confusing because we have this thing called a mind, and it likes to assign rules anytime there's a change. And I'll give an example. My friend Aaron Dowdy, he's a YouTuber. He works way harder than I do. He's single. He works like a dog. And he said, you know what? I got to take Sundays off. I need it. He needed the Sundays to like relax and recoup. So for about 5 or 6 Sundays, he would do that. And he said, you know what? It was hard at first, but I came to enjoy these Sundays, and I look forward to them. And his mind said, I rest on Sundays. That's a rule. Well, recently, he felt this inspiration to create. I don't know if it was a YouTube video or write an email or something, but it was this inspiration. And this caused a lot of conflict because his mind was like, no, you rest Sundays. But Spirit had another plan for him. Spirit doesn't work within the confines of the mental rules we assign a place upon ourselves, which are so limiting and constrictive. It just goes with the flow. It's very dynamic. Okay, so Aaron finally, wise enough, he gave in and he expressed himself and didn't work and rest on Sunday, and it was a good day. But that was a good example of what we would all benefit from doing, okay? And when I say benefit from doing, that's putting it lightly. I think a lot of us are going to be having our minds blown in the coming future as we really just let go, allow life to be easier than it's ever been, and then produce more, be more, experience more, grow faster, and really just sort of have this smooth, graceful approach to life that yields big rewards, big manifestations, big life expansions. Big life expansions are attempting to come into your field right now. I'm talking paradigm shifting, new foundations are in the process of being built for you to literally give you a life so magical, so wondrous, so special, so fulfilling that none of us are, I don't think any of us are even honestly ready for it. But that's what's trying to happen. And in order to really tap into the energy, the nice thing is you don't have to do anything. Just let go. And as they say, let God, let the higher forces flow through you and sort of guide you easily into the next step in your life. Let it be easy. Big rewards, I promise you, guarantee you, will result. I bet a lot of you who watch my videos are feeling this in your gut. Like this sense that big things are going to be happening this year. That's not a scary thing, but big things nonetheless. The collective is no longer in a place where it can resist this new powerful energy that is just increasing in its intensity day by day by day. And there's going to be a lot of light shed upon the darkness in this world. And I don't mean that so much spiritually. I mean awareness is going to be cast upon the shadows. Areas of the collective where there is an extreme lack of integrity, extreme desire to control, and that type of stuff is going to have its cleansing, okay? It's almost like a giant. Imagine a giant with this big, hairy fist clenching something it wants to hold on to so bad. Doesn't want to let it go even though it's not serving him. And then eventually the giant looks down and that thing that it was clasping so intensely is broken. He ruined it. He held too tight. That's kind of what's happening. But you and I and us, we are here to exemplify love, compassion, presence, and hold space as the collective shifts. It's a time where the light work you came to do, it's time to do it basically. And the way you do it isn't by going around ranting to your friends and your neighbors and telling them all about this. It's an inner journey, ironically. How do you help the collective? With self-love. Self-love. the more you can love yourself and ignore your inner critic, no longer heed the nudges of your fears, and truly treat yourself with the same kindness and respect, compassion, tolerance, and love that you would anybody else. And you will find that's the energy, that's the root of why things are in such disarray. There's an extreme lack of self-love. We've been taught to believe we're separate from love, separate from spirit, separate from the eternal life. Eternal life is now. Number 5, togetherness. Contrary to what a lot of you probably even think is possible, the energy is ripe for togetherness, coming together with like-minded, like vibration brothers and sisters. Okay? And I know a lot of you say, no, Vic, that seems unlikely. I've been alone for a while. Nobody in my area thinks like me, acts like me, reads the same materials as me, etc. Now, I want to remind you that there is value in alone time. There's a reason why so many of us felt guided to sort of leave our normal everyday affairs and in some way, shape, or form recluse and go within and read and discover and heal, okay? And that's why all the self-discovery and healing is why we kind of do that. But this sort of lengthened lonely phase can lead to the conclusion, yet again, another mental rule and label that, I'm not meant to have friends. It's okay. Even me. I remember a long time ago, I had my very first QHHT session. It's like a hypnosis type of therapy. And I was talking to this therapist prior to going in. And it came out that I didn't have any friends at that time. And I explained to her, no, it's cool. I don't need any friends. I like to write. I got my family. I'm good. And she was like, well, Vic, it would be good if you had friends. She kind of was like, I know you've accepted it, but you would be a lot happier if you're a bit more social. And I knew she was right, okay? And then to my own surprise, new people started flowing into my life at a certain point. And I really believe for a lot of you, even though you've been in this lonely journey maybe for some time, you might be surprised at who starts to pop into your life. And it can come in any way, shape, or form. It could be a yoga teacher you click with. It could be the bus driver you look at and you lock eyes and you see this twinkle and you know, I know that soul, I know that energy, and that's just the beginning, okay? As these castles begin to shake and crack and eventually fall, there will be a need for new empires to be built, founded upon the light, founded upon love, founded upon togetherness. I can't do it alone. You can't do it alone, but we can do it together. Imagine, just imagine, I was thinking about this on the way over here, probably 20,000 to 100,000 people in the next few days will see this video, okay? Imagine if we all were together right now. I'm in the Red Rock Mountains. Imagine if we were all gathered, sharing ideas, masterminding, brainstorming. We have a surgeon. A carpenter. A Reiki healer. A really awesome spiritual teacher. And we just all like pooled together our talents, our soul's talents into a common intention, a common goal, a common vision, a shared vision. Imagine how quickly and how beautifully these new structures can be erected. Okay? It's not the time anymore to go within and recluse. It is the time to expand and start coming together with your soul brothers and sisters, and don't be surprised if it happens. Certainly don't rule it out. That therapist for me did me a real service by planting the seed of doubt. The seed of doubt in my belief that I'm not meant to have friends or cool people in my life. I started to question that. I said, maybe it's possible. Okay? Let this video be that seed for you, my lonely light worker friend. Okay? It is possible. It's a given. To all my friends still going through that first part of the video, I was discussing the purge and the detox. If you feel you're still in that quite a bit, there's a video, and I get it mixed up. One of these corners is a video about, I call it the past life purge, it's going to help you a lot. It's going to go a lot deeper into that process. And I really believe not only alleviate your concern, but give you hope and excitement and just really help you understand what you're going through. Click there on that video if you're feeling it. And with that said, I'm going to bounce. Have an amazing day, my friends. Much love to you all. Namaste.